I was doing so much, and I'm not doing that like to say that, hey, look at me, I'm doing a lot. Hey my lovelies, and welcome back to this series filled with grace. So this series basically is about overcoming situations, tough times, how to handle difficult experiences and situations that we go through in life, and just giving you advice and tips on life and how to grow as a person, how to be a better person, and come out gold essentially from the experiences that we all go through in life. Because as much as there are those good experiences, there are equally and probably sometimes more of those negative and bad experiences, and we're wondering, what is life and how do we go through them. This series basically helps you on how to handle those situations. So let's get straight into the video. So today's video, we are going to be talking about resting, calming and resting. That's why this one is titled Calm and Rest. It's funny because it's a real common misconception to say that we as Christians, especially when we are serving in our various church services, church buildings, church environment, community, family, whatever you want to call it, when we are workers in the vineyard, most especially when it is a growing church and there's not a lot of members or workers. There's more work to do within that church family than there is actual workers, actual laborers, actual workers in that church. It can be very, very hard because it's like you have to you want to rest, but there's so much work to do and it's like there's not enough people to do it, that you have to constantly be there, constantly say yes to when somebody asks you to do something, to the point where you now find yourself burnt out because you have given so much of yourself away that you haven't taken time to rest, you haven't taken time to recalibrate and to fill yourself up again. And it's something that we as Christians need to be very, very wary about, and something I've gone through as well. There was a time when I was doing so much, and I'm not doing that like to say that, hey, look at me, I'm doing a lot. No, but I was doing so much in the church. I was always, saying yes when somebody needed me, because I saw a lot of workers in the church family who were there but just didn't do anything, or would run away and focus on something that just didn't make sense to be focusing at that point in time, when they saw that we as a church family needed, everybody to come together in unison to be able to continue to drive the church growth forward. So it got to the point where I said to myself, I am not going to be one of those people who people can't rely on, people can't count on, people will brush over me or look over me because they know that this person isn't serious, this person isn't dedicated to the work of God. But I did it so much so that I started to overwork myself, and I have a habit of pushing things to the back of my mind, and pushing things aside when things are getting too much in terms of emotionally. So when I know that I am, emotions are heightened or too high, I just kind of push it to the side and say I'll deal with it later, but never actually come back to the thing that I'm supposed to be dealing with. And so I was working for a long period of time, and I'm not talking about months or weeks, I'm genuinely talking about years. So for a long period of time I was working, but the fire was amber and so small that I didn't pay attention to it, because I was like, there's so much to do in the church family, in the church community. I don't have time to rest. But this is why I'm saying it is so important for you to take time to yourself, you know. Even if it's one week within that month of service, that you take time to yourself to just not be involved in the day-to-day activities and servings of the church family, then do that. But even in that time of rest, it's not just lay back and let yourself go and not, you know, continue to fuel that passion and that relationship with God that you have, because that's the most important part about that rest, is to refuel yourself, to build yourself up, to pour back into yourself what you have poured out. And by doing to do that, you need to obviously spend time in God's word. And constantly, yes, we're supposed to constantly spend time in God's word, but when we are resting, that is the time to really go deep and really go hard in your secret place. And your secret place can be in your room in the mornings, or whenever it's quiet and it's just you and God communicating and reading the word and meditating on that word. But it is so important that you have that rest. Whether you are in the choir, the usher, the media, you preach on Sundays or Wednesdays or whatever it may be, just make sure that you have that time to rest, so that you don't get to the point where you're burnt out and you're just you're going, but you're not giving the right amount of you that you need to, because there's nothing left for you to give. Genesis 2:2 talks about how God rested. And it's funny because we know that God is a God who never sleeps nor slumbers. You know, he has been awake since time began, even before time began. But he rested on the seventh day of creation. Now, the thing about him resting is that he didn't rest because he was tired, or because, you know, he needed to take a godly nap, you know, in the corner of the garden of Eden. But he did it to show us, to show you and me, that we need that rest. We need that time to recalibrate, to fill ourselves up again, so that when we're giving to people, when we're pouring out to people, we're pouring out with I don't know how to explain it, but we're pouring out with the best of us, you know, that we're not pouring out just that little tiny string that's left of us. So it's even in the Bible that we need to rest. We need to make sure that we are resting and taking that time to rest. I mean, we've got to make sure we balance it. We shouldn't over rest. At the same time, we shouldn't under rest or not rest at all. So it's just being sensitive in the spirit and just knowing when it is that, you know, okay, now I need to say no to any requests that people might ask me, because I know that this time right now I need to rest. I need to rest in God and be still and just refill myself. And even because I know there will always be people who will get annoyed at that and be like, is it just you? I mean, am I not working in the vineyard too? So why are you overdoing it? Why are you being so high and mighty about it? Don't let their words or their actions get to you, because it is so vital that you have that rest, and you will thank yourself for it as well. You really will. While I'm saying this, the words of one of my mentors, it keeps ringing in my mind, and it's basically just that you will thank yourself. I mean, only you know what's going on inside of you better than anybody else. No matter how close you might be to somebody, you know, it's only you who knows how you're truly feeling to the T. And the only other person who knows more than that is God, obviously. Even going to this rest thing, there's we have the tendency, well, I know I have the tendency, I don't know, you guys may be saints, so you don't need to worry about these things, but I have the tendency to carry a lot on my shoulder when I have this to do and that to do, but also that other thing to do and this other thing to do, and etc. It just tends to, I just carry it on my head, carry it on my shoulders, carry it on my back. and just go. And we as humans just tend to carry the whole world on our shoulders, our responsibilities, the things that we're lacking in, the no's that we've gotten, the things that we need to do, the bills to pay, etc, etc, etc. We'll just carry it on our head. Guys, we are not a forklift, we are not a truck. We were not designed to carry so much weight. So please, please, just lay it down at God's feet. It says in the Bible that we should come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So it even says, the Bible is full of so much wisdom and so much advice that it's ridiculous sometimes, because we kind of just flick through the pages and not really take time to see what it is that God is trying to say through His Word regarding our situation and our life. So yeah, it says that, give it to Him. When you're weary, when you have so much burdens on you that you feel like you can't get up in the morning or do what it is you're supposed to be doing, then you know that you are carrying too much. Even don't get to that point where, yeah. Anyways, so we need to give it to God and, lay at His feet. And when we do that, it's not to go and pick it back up again. Man, humans in control. We really do need to work on this whole control thing, guys. We really do. I mean, can you imagine? You say it's like, I don't want to say gift, but for those people who are very who are perfectionists, and you reluctantly, very 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 reluctantly ask somebody to help you with something, and you're like, okay, I know I have a lot of things, and I'm gonna have to let you do this for me, so let me give this to you. This is what I want you to do. I want you to do this exactly like this, like step 1, 2, 3, do not miss out, 4 and 5. Okay, I'll let you go. I've got to go and do these things. And then a couple of minutes later, you're just eyeing them to see what they're doing, and you come back and be like, oh no, not like this, let me show you. And then you start doing what you've told them to do. That's basically what we are doing with God. We give Him control and tell Him, okay, take it, because I can't do it on my own. I have acknowledged that I can't do it on my own, but we still take it from Him.